Hello everyone, welcome to the Six Sigma Quality Engineering videos. Six Sigma project team, what is it all about? We need to understand the organizational context for process improvement projects. Know the basic elements of team charter and review any questions that you have from your charters of your own project. Understand the basic of estimating the business impact of a project and be able to relate to them in your own project. Be able to identify the key players, the stakeholders, and incorporate them into your communication plan for your own project as on when on basis. So Six Sigma team charters, a team charter is an agreement between management and the team about what is expected. Remember, the charter tells you everything. It has the key information about your project. It is used to define your project, give critical qualities, CTQs, critical to quality to the customer, write the business cases, write a problem and goal statement, scope a project, state the problem or opportunity, establish the project goals, identify the criteria for success, list assumption, risk, obstacle, communicate the above, and obtain the management support then and there as on when on basis. Six Sigma project charter example. We are talking about process in which opportunity exists. We are talking about the project description. Remember, the project purpose and the scope is to be very vital. Project scope define the parts of the project that will be investigated. Objectives define the baseline, the timeline, the goal, the target, the cost. Business case define the improvement in business processes anticipated as on when on basis. Team members, who are the full-time team members, expect customer benefit, who is the final customer. What benefit will they see and what are the most critical requirement? What are we looking into it? We are looking about the schedule, defining the key milestone dates, defining the completion date, measure those completion date, analyze those completion date, improve those dates, control the completion date. This is of vital importance, as I keep on saying it repeatedly. So project management is all about problem. It is all about measures and objective. Remember, the problem statement should focuses on the process deficiency. It should communicate to the team members about the significance of each others, and that is what problem statement should be. The objective should address the problem statement, the quantify the problem improvement or the performance improvement that is desirable. So what are we looking into it? We are trying to measure primary metric using to measure success consistent with the problem statement and objective. Secondary metrics is all about the potential negative consequences thereby. Allow me to discuss the problem project statement. So a problem is the unsatisfactory result of a poor job, poor process. So what is the impact on the customer? The customer will eventually run away, you know. The customer might tolerate for some time, may be loyal to some time, value your relationship or understand or empathize you for some time, but not all the time. So what problem or gap are you addressing? What impact will closing the gap have on the customer? How will you know things are better? It should not be including theories about solutions as on when on basis. Remember the five wife and one husband to help you to give focus around it. I want to say about five W's and H. What are the symptoms? What happens when the problem appears? Where do the symptoms appear from? Where they don't appear at all? When do the symptoms appears? Where don't they appear? Who are all involved in it, and who isn't? We need to understand the problems, what we are looking into it. A poor problem statement product returns are very high and will be reduced by analyzing the first and the second level Pareto charts. Pareto charts, 20% of the problem or issues will give you the 80% of the problem. So if you can just eliminate those 20% of the issues. A better problem statement is the product returns are 5% of the sales, resulting in a business unit negative impact of more than $5 million. This is having a potential market share of 10% reduction altogether. We are talking about the project objective should address the problem set statement. Now is the point where you need to quantify the performance. What is required should be identifying the timings also. Need to measure actionable and realistic. We're talking about quality, we're talking about quantity, we're talking about time, we're talking about cost. That is what will we talk about it. A poor objective reduces the product returns by implementing the performance measures and objective thereby. A better objective reduces the product returns on the product line from 5% to 2.5% by the end of the day, and to reduce the overall returns by 1%, which means translate roughly into $1 million of saving. Let me go with the measures part of it. What you measure should be consistent, should be all what with respect to your problems and objective. Primary metric used to measure success needs to include three series plotted on a function of time. What are we looking? Baseline performance. What are we looking? Actual performance. What are we looking? Object and target performances. So baseline performance is what we are performing, what has been expected of us, and what we are actual performing is how we are performing with respect to the baseline. Then the reasons remain the objective and the target. Secondary metrics derives from the right behavior, tracks potential negative consequences. More than one perhaps may be required. This is a sample of a defining the structures of what a problem is all about it. Remember DMAIC, DMAIC, define, measurable, analyze, improve, and control process. What we are looking into it, we are trying to define those cases, and there might be criteria, benefit, or how do we define it? What might the estimated date of completion, the actual completion date, and the status. So we have defined customer requirement, and this is just a sample for you to understand. You need to extrapolate it to your company, to your requirements. Develop problem statement, goals, benefit, identify champions, process owner, team. Define resources, evaluate key organizational players, define project planning and milestone, develop high level process map. By the end of define, you should be able to understand or describe clearly about your champion. What processes is involved, including supplier, inputs, output, and customer. What about the process output is important to customers? What customer currently think of the process and its output? Why this project is important to your organization, and what business goals the project must achieve to be considered successful. Who are the players on the project? Sponsors, advisors, team leaders, team members. What limitation, budget, time, resources have been placed on this project thereby? We are talking about the Six Sigma problem statement. A problem statement has the form: what is wrong, where it happened, when it happened, to what extent the damages was caused, and because. This is a problem statement. A problem statement does not include the cause of deficiency, does not include the likely action or solution, but is very clear and concise, very specific. A good problem is essentially a good start. A good problem statement will define what is wrong. Example: customers are not satisfied with my product. Something is wrong. Yields are suffering. Probably outputs are not up to the mark. Reliability is inefficient. Probably I may not be able to draw a timeline, give a timeline. Problem statement: where does it happen? Customers in the Midwest regions are absolutely a particular segment of customer not happy. Equipment availability for urgent care is poor. Probably resources are poor altogether. It's not available as on time basis. Documents correctness is insufficient in the billing. Probably proper evidences are not there. When was this seen? A good problem statement will see when the problem occurred, timing, day, season, year, month. Customers in the Midwest are not satisfied with my ordering services starting in January so and so date. Equipment availability for urgent care is poor since the consolidation of service such and such date. Document correctness is insufficient in billing after the introduction of FlexiFrom since such and such date. What we are trying to do, we are trying to fix up the process or probably find out who is the culprit, how widespread the problem is. A good problem statement will clearly explain the extent of the problem. Customer in the Midwest are not satisfied with my ordering. Starting January, complaints have increased 15%. Perhaps, I do not know. Equipment availability for urgent care is absolutely poor since the consolidation of service. Delays caused by the lack of availability have increased by 40%. Look how quantifying it becomes around it. Quantification is very important for understanding the problem statement, or probably arriving to the solution to the problems. Document correctness is insufficient in billing. After the introduction of flexi forms, errors have increased 28%. So now is what we are talking about. How will I know that there is a problem? What is the standard? Now we'll talk about it. Customers in the Midwest regions are not satisfied with my ordering services. Starting January, Complaints have increased 15% at a time when complaint rates from other regions have remained more or less static or same. Equipment availability of urgent care is poor since the concentration of service. Delays caused by the lack of availability have increased 40% when the patient traffic has increased by just only 5%. So see, understand the importance. Let me give you the other example. Document correctness is insufficient in billing after the introduction of flexi forms. Errors have increased by 28% when the goal of the project was to reduce it by 90%. So primary metric used to measure the process performances. The gauge used to measure your success. It must be consistent with the problem statement. It is used to track the progress towards your goal and objective. It is usually reported as a time series graph. Baseline data averaged over years, if available, target performances, goal or objective, actual current performances thereby. So what are we looking as in? Examples are rolled throughout yield products, process sigma level, defects per piece versus proportional defectiveness. The primary metric is to see how success your project is measured around here. Now I'll give you a sample, and this is just a sample for you to understand the primary metric, and it might go up and down. And look what we are talking about this standard line, and this is my baseline altogether, and this is my actual line with my performances. Remain the objective. What my objective is to be above this line, but once it goes below the objective, you are not attaining at all. The secondary matrices is all about the measurement of the key inputs, the key output features, cycle time, process resources, usage that may improve as a result of meeting objective. Using primary metric can be drivers or riders, vital X impacting the project. Primary metric, good consequential metrics. Primary metric is all about cycle time. Secondary metric is all about reduced back orders. Primary metric is defect per unit, and secondary metrics might be available flow space. So this is what we are talking about. Remember, cycle time, primary metric, secondary time is reduced back orders. So the sample of the secondary matrix is again something simple, which is identical, but here probably you are not coming with a baseline or the actual, this is an actual performances. Probably you're not coming with the objectives. So packed of orders shipped within 24 hours. So what is CPOC? Before I wind up this video, CPOC is nothing. IPO is everybody understand input, process, and output. CS is for suppliers and C for customers. So suppliers, input, process, output, customer. Remember high level of map of your process that includes approximately 4 to 7 process step input that feed the process. The supplier sources of those inputs, output the result of the process, customer the recipient of the output as the case might be. Everywhere you need to track those changes if there's a problem arising. Remember to keep all your problem statements simple. Think carefully about the scope, and I'm sure you will overcome any problem that might arise. Thank you for watching the video till the end.